There's nothing better than making new friends. That's why you're traveling to an isolated island to spread the good word to an uncontacted indigenous tribe. Okay, so the government says this isn't wise, and maybe they've chased you off twice already with arrows, but soon you'll be winning an award. Well, yeah, but not a Nobel Prize. The Darwin Awards are a satirical award ceremony celebrating the few, the proud, the stupid, who remove themselves from the gene pool by doing something unbelievably stupid. There are only a few rules. They can only remove themselves from the gene pool in the event, and they must die or render themselves unable to reproduce via other means. Let's take a look at some of the most famous winners. Is this a highlight reel or an in memoriam? On this episode of The Infographic Show. Number 11. It was April in Italy, and one man was thirsty, so thirsty in fact that nothing sounded better than a tall drink of water. He needed a supermarket, but there was just one problem. It was Easter Sunday, and in the very original seat of Roman Catholicism, that meant everything was closed. So he did the only thing that made sense. He snuck in the back to look for some delicious H2O, and he found it, towering as high as the sky, a massive pallet full of large packs of water bottles. But he wasn't going to let that stop him. He would just need to jimmy one loose. What could go wrong? Well, he never found out. The supermarket employees did, though, coming in to find a massive pile of collapsed crates. They started digging them loose, and they found a horrifying sight. Underneath was the dead man pinned by the very water he had been seeking. The CCTV footage made it clear what happened. The man had tried to pry a crate of water loose from the middle of the tower and was immediately crushed by a massive pile of heavy bottles and not a drop to drink. Sometimes it's best to just leave well enough alone. Number 10. Pastor Sean was a man of God, but he was also a Florida man, and that would spell his end one day in 2022. It was a warm March day on Lake Seminole, and the pastor and his friend took the boat out. His mistakes started then. He couldn't swim, but he declined to wear a life vest, and sure enough, the boat stalled out in the water. The sheriff had to be called, and a boat soon arrived to bring the two men back to shore. But alas, the pastor's wayward boat was lost, as the sheriff wasn't a tow service. And as for Pastor Sean, it was no man or boat left behind. The pastor called a friend to get him back out on the lake again, and once again he forgot to take a life jacket. It was getting late when he got back out to his boat to try to start it again. He jumped from his friend's boat and capsized it. He was immediately floundering in the water. His friend tried to pull him up and nearly capsized his own boat, and without the life vest to grab onto, he had no way to get a good grip. And so the pastor sunk down to the depths of Lake Seminole and was no doubt welcomed into the afterlife by a chorus of Florida men shooting off illegal fireworks. We all love pets, but this man loved them a little too much. Number 9. In terms of rare and ridiculous deaths, getting bitten by a venomous snake is not up there. It happens. It's part of the risk of keeping them or handling them. So when police came to make a welfare check on the home of a Maryland resident, David Riston, it wasn't a big surprise to find him dead on the floor due to a snake bite. The man was known to enjoy keeping them, and the odds go up with each snake he handled. But let's just hope that none of the reporting officers had a snake phobia, because this man took testing fate to the next level. Mr. Riston had over 124 snakes in his home, many of them venomous, including rattlesnakes and cobras, but also black mambas, one of the deadliest species of snake in the world. He also had a giant python in case he wanted some variety in his accidental death. The snakes all seemed to be kept in safe enclosures, but one decided to go for a jailbreak, and that led to the end of the unfortunate Mr. Riston. If reincarnation is a thing, maybe embrace the simple joys of hamsters in the next life. There's road rage, and then there's these two brain trusts. Number 8. Berkeley, California, 2021. Everyone on the route is trying to get to work. Someone cuts a few corners, and the next thing you know, there's a collision. Fortunately, no one's injured, for now, because one driver just got out of his car to confront the other driver. And here's the other guy, because one bad decision deserves another. Suddenly, everyone driving gets treated to a show of these two chuckleheads arguing with each other and making threats. And did we mention this wasn't a country road? It was Interstate 80. Soon enough, the inevitable happened. A Mini Cooper swerved to avoid one of the damaged cars and collided directly with the two bickering motorists, sending them flying. Both were dead at the scene. The Mini Cooper driver was deeply traumatized, and it's likely that Highway Patrol had to issue a statement. Please pull over to the nearest rest stop before getting into a brawl over your damaged vehicle. It's safer for everyone, and you can get a donut once you're done fighting. Not many people build their own death trap. Number 7. Mr. Harvey Fite was an ambitious man, and he loved one thing: stonework. He spent years building a massive 6-acre collection of hand-built stone bridges, moats, and sculptures. And by 1976, the 72-year-old was ready to celebrate his life's work. Now he just needed to maintain it. The old-school artist could live among his magnum opus, or at least he could, for a short time, until one day when riding his lawnmower, Harvey decided to get a little too close to one of his stone creations and proceeded to face-plant right off the ledge. Okay, lots of people fall off lawnmowers each year, and if you don't fall under the blades, you're probably gonna be okay. Maybe a bit banged up, but the thing about stone is, it is really hard, and Mr. Fite was killed instantly. Maybe it's just us, but if you're rich enough to create a massive stone quarry as a testament to your power over nature's mightiest objects, you're probably rich enough to hire lawn care. But then few people have built themselves as impressive a memorial as Mr. Fite. Dying building your own Stonehenge is impressive, but this next man picked an even more ancient way to pass on. Number 6. Hawaii is a gorgeous place filled with palm trees, blue lagoons, and volcanoes. And those volcanoes are safe to admire and even visit with caution. Lava doesn't argue, and when you see a sign warning of lava, it's probably best to turn back quickly. After all, this isn't the movies, and you can't have lava ooze right up to you and jump over it. But one ambitious 75-year-old hiker decided he knew better. One night he decided he wanted to see the lava flow up close and personal. Well, he got his wish. Volcanoes National Park is one of the most magnificent sights in the country. But when you see a sign saying "turn back or you will die," it is best to listen. And so he soldiered on into the night when the lava was no doubt extra stunning. We hope he enjoyed it because he didn't come back. On Monday morning, the search parties turned up and he was later found dead. We suspect he'd say the same thing Mr. Fite did. "I'm too old to care about your silly safety rules." In former Soviet Union, laptop downloads you. Number 5. Being a Russian soldier in Ukraine isn't a fun time. You were likely drafted against your will, you're facing death if you desert, and the Russian military's primary strategy seems to be throw bodies at the front lines to slow down the Ukrainian military. So they've got to take some pleasure when they can find it. And as for one soldier in 2022, he was excited to find an abandoned MacBook in the middle of a war zone. Maybe he could use it to stream some Stranger Things while he was in Ukraine, since Netflix is banned in Russia. Now he just needed to find a place to store it. Fortunately, there was a convenient spot in his chest plate. He just needed to remove this one silly piece of armor, and that was actually a ballistic plate designed to repel bullets. Sure enough, he got shot, and MacBooks aren't bulletproof. He was killed immediately, and people who handled his body afterwards also found a stolen iPad on his person. I hope that episode of BoJack Horseman was worth it. This next guy took home security to the next level. Number 4. Ronald Sear, 65, was a Maine man who was nervous about keeping his house safe. He had a whole lot of expensive jewelry at home, and he didn't want to have to rely on his fast instincts to stop a burglar. So he decided to set up some DIY home defense. Based on the kid-friendly contraption that was used to pull out a loose tooth, he rigged up a handgun trigger to pull when the door was opened by someone who wasn't supposed to be there, and shoot the unlucky burglar as soon as they stepped inside. And it worked. A little too well. In 2019, Sear was shot dead. An investigation revealed that he had accidentally triggered his own pull-string death trap when he arrived home, maybe distracted or under the influence. We have a bit of sympathy for this Darwin Award winner. After all, he did pull off his own invention. But knowledge is being able to turn your own front door into a death trap, and wisdom is knowing that maybe you shouldn't. What's crazier than one Darwin Award winner? How about 2? Number 3. Peer pressure is tricky, and we all remember our moms telling us, "If all your friends jumped off a bridge, would you follow them?" To which these 2 Texas men on vacation in Louisiana went, "Hell yeah!" It was 2019 when the Lake Charles Black Bayou drawbridge was open to let boats through. The safety gate was down, and when our heroes drove up, they decided that they really didn't want to wait. So one man jumped out of the car, pushed up the safety gate, and jumped back in. As the driver hit the gas, they were either going to be legends or a different kind of legend. Despite what action movies might tell you, cars are not meant to jump over large open gaps. The car proceeded to plunge off the bridge and into the waves below. As it was 2 a.m., no workers were around to notify the authorities, and the car, along with the drowned men, were eventually found down below. Hey, at least best friends stick together to the end. And this next guy was a little too confident, and it was a long way down. Number 2. Gary Hoy was a smart man. You didn't get to be a lawyer without having some brains, but you probably also gotta be a little daring. He was giving a tour of his office tower to a group of law students and decided to show how good life could be once they were big, powerful corporate lawyers like him. The massive building was state-of-the-art, including supposedly unbreakable windows. He decided to show off the strength of the windows by throwing himself against them. It was a party trick that he'd done many times. And it worked. Until it didn't. See, the windows were unbreakable, but the window frame, not so much. The force of his impact dislodged the glass from its frame, and it sent the intact window and Mr. Hoy plummeting 24 floors to the ground below. Traumatizing for the students watching and for the larger group of students in the adjacent boardroom, no doubt. When asked about the window failure, structural engineer Bob Greer said that the windows were designed not to break, not to stand up to an attorney's tomfoolery. But no one failed to heat a point more than this last guy. Number 1. John Allen Chau was a young man who was driven by a single passion in life: to spread the word of God. A devout evangelical missionary, there was no place he wouldn't go if he thought people needed to learn about Christianity, including North Sentinel Island, an isolated island in the Bay of Bengal, a protected Indian territory. It's home to the Sentinelese, an isolated indigenous tribe known for being fiercely protective of their island. Laws prohibit traveling within 5 nautical miles of the island to protect the islanders from disease and to protect travelers from their defenses. But Chau didn't mind the law. He had God on his side. After being trained in missionary boot camp, Chau planned an initial first contact with the Sentinelese, which he believed could be, quote, Satan's last stronghold on earth, and he paid 2 fishermen to illegally ferry him over to the island. He made several attempts to contact them, but was met with a combination of mockery and hostility. When he delivered gifts, a boy shot an arrow at him that pierced his Bible. He made one final visit, and the last thing the fishermen saw was Chau's body being dragged away for burial by the visitors. They were soon arrested for violating the protection law and probably decided that they were out of the business of helping Americans. Want to know how people manage to die in the happiest place on earth? Check out totally messed up things that have happened at Walt Disney World, or watch this video instead.